Thank you, Mark. We're looking down on the pitch from up on high at the front of the second tier of this stadium in Samara. The flags on the pitch have been raised up by the children holding them. The flags are now being led out from the tunnel as well for the anthems. And now the teams emerge. It says on my ticket that this is officially match number 60 out of 64, and England are still in it. And this will be the first time that the World Cup semi-finals will not feature at least one of Brazil, Argentina or Germany. And we have Sweden and England now lining up either side of the halfway line to hear the anthems, to contest a place in the last four of this World Cup. Sweden in the bright yellow tracksuit tops with Spearage in blue written across the back. And the England players applaud. And Harry Kane just waits for the signal. Referee Bjorn Kuipers is just having a little word with the mascot, and then Harry Kane sets off along the line, shaking hands with the Dutch officials and then the Swedish players. One of those anthems we've just heard for the last time at this World Cup. Whoever wins will go all the way through to the last weekend of this tournament, either the final or the third, fourth place playoff. I see that Jana Andersson and Gareth Southgate have just exchanged an embrace down there between the two technical areas. And so here we are, 500 miles or so out to the east of Moscow in this pretty city on the Volga River. It's a summer Saturday afternoon in Samara. And by the time we're done today, either it'll be a first World Cup semi-final for England since 1990, or a first for Sweden since USA 94. So we do have two football nations who are overdue a World Cup like this, and it is a day when it really is a case of the winner takes it all. We'll see how it unfolds over the course of the next 90 minutes as the players just gather behind the banner, the living football, say no to racism, hoarding that they are FIFA presenting for all of these matches in the quarterfinals, so the players mingle together and then they will break away and prepare for the match. So Chris, how are you expecting it to unfold in front of us today?
Well, I think England will have a lot of the ball early on. I think Sweden will be all about shape, and I think as the game goes on, obviously if England score first, Sweden will have to come out, will suit England, but I think Sweden will be quite happy to take this game as long as it has to go to get a result, and it's up to England, I think, to break them down, but you can't overcommit because these are very dangerous on the counter-attack.
Saturday afternoon, be very interesting to know where people are watching and listening to us. It is on the red button, by the way. You can watch the match on BBC One. Martin Keown and Jermaine Genus and Guy Mowbray are just up to our left, so you can watch the match on BBC One. They're expecting a massive audience, something around 30 million. If you press the red button, you can listen to our commentary, the 5 Live commentary, matched up with all of the pictures. But I've heard stories about people delaying their weddings back home this afternoon. All sorts of people will be playing sport. You know, there'll be cricket matches going on all around the country, and I guess people will be listening to us as well while they're watching their teams play. And it is just a huge sporting afternoon. What with Wimbledon, of course, Kyle Edmund playing later, British Grand Prix tomorrow, the Tour de France starts today. And here in faraway Samara, we're preparing for kick-off in the World Cup quarter-final. Sweden, 2 changes to their team. Seb Larsson, who we know so well in England, back in midfield, and Emil Kraft at right back in for the suspended Mikael Lustig. So the Swedish side, Robin Olsen in goal, back 4 of Emil Kraft, Victor Lindelof of Manchester United, Andreas Granqvist, the captain, who became a father again this week, the former Wigan man, Ludvig Augustinsson at left back, and then in midfield Victor Claesson, Seb Larsson, Albin Ekdal and Emil Forsberg, with Marcus Berg and Ola Toivonen up front. And England unchanged, Jordan Pickford in goal, Kyle Walker, John Stones and Harry Maguire, the 3 central defenders. Kieran Trippier and Ashley Young are the wing backs. Jordan Henderson with Jesse Lingard and Dele Alli either side, and then Raheem Sterling. And the World Cup's leading scorer, the England captain, 6 goals here at the tournament, Harry Kane up front. We're almost ready for kick-off. The camera on its ropes is hovering around and swinging around above the centre circle. Sweden are going to get the match underway from where we're looking here, high up behind the dugouts. Sweden are going to be playing from left to right. Victor Claesson is waiting to kick off. He looks a little nervous, I must say, the Swedish number 17. And here is the countdown to kick off in the World Cup quarter-final between Sweden and England. And off we go here in Samara. Sweden, the yellow shirts, blue shorts and yellow socks against the all red of England again, and the ball is deflected out of play. Granqvist got his head to it, and England get their first touch with a throw-in over on the far side, which is taken back to Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker is a yellow card away potentially from missing the semi-final. So is Jesse Lingard, but the yellow cards will be wiped after the quarter-final stage, remember. Harry Kane drops deep. We saw an awful lot of that in the Colombia game. Now Walker plays it up towards the edge of the Swedish penalty area, where Andreas Granqvist just leans forward, heads it down, and it's out of play for an England throw on the right. Chris Waddle watching with us. Chris played in World Cup quarter-finals in Mexico and in Italy. Won one, lost one. They were both eventful. England with a throw on the right-hand side, and here they go all the way back towards the tall, imposing figure, one of England's two ever presents in this World Cup campaign here, John Stones. Stones plays it out towards the left-hand side where Dele Alli is challenged. The ball deflects out of play for a throw in to Sweden, and then it's headed forward by John Stones. Dele Alli plays a little ball up but didn't get the contact he wanted on that, and it was easily headed away and down to comparative safety for Sweden, who clear it down deep into the England half. Chris Waddle.
Well, you can see already 4-4-2. Sweden well marshalled, the back four there really close together. There's an old-fashioned it's a system everybody used years ago, and we did a lot. But they've just dropped off, and they're saying to England, look, you can have the ball, but we'll give you no space when you get in that last 30-40 yards.
Less than 2 minutes played, and the pattern has already very much emerged. Going to be lots of England possession, but that doesn't bother Sweden. You'll know that if you've been watching any of their games at this tournament. Jordan Pickford chips a ball out to the left-hand side. Ashley Young leaps up high, unchallenged, to head it infield. And now here is Victor Claesson. Little ball infield. It's played through by Berghus, but far too much on that. That was a very heavy contact. Straight away through for a goal kick to England.
No, and there's a threat for you. They've picked the ball up on halfway lane, one pass, and say, yes, he's over, hit the pass, but England committed a lot of bodies forward. There's times I've looked at England. There's two up front, Kane and Sterling, but Dele Alli basically and Lingard are playing up front with them. There's a line of four against their four.
So Jordan Pickford has a goal kick. We've got 4 England players stationed around the penalty area and 3 Swedes. And Sweden are saying to England, come on then, you're going to pass the ball out from the back, which Jordan Pickford does to Kyle Walker in the full-back position, who then hits it long. Here's Jordan Henderson in centre field, sends a pinging pass diagonally for Raheem Sterling, but that's nodded back by right-back Kraft to goalkeeper Olsen, who's able to underarm it out to Kraft, who's starting a match at this World Cup for the first time, Emil Kraft. Long and forward, and Trippier is able to see it to Maguire, who nods it back to Jordan Pickford. Quickly underarms it out to Jordan Henderson. Henderson now, Jesse Lingard, 10 yards inside his own half, back towards Kyle Walker. Still 1 or 2 people taking their seats around the stadium. It is quite difficult to get to this almost space-age stadium with the huge domed roof, which, when you see it for the first time, looks like a spacecraft that's just landed in amongst the trees of Samara. Here's Maguire on the halfway line, puts his foot on the ball. Maguire towards Raheem Sterling. Extremely cagey start to this game. 0-0 in the very early stages. Stones now works a ball to Walker on the right. Walker to Trippier, who's been one of England's men of this World Cup, and Jesse Lingard knew he was in an offside position, so allowed the ball to run back into the left-back area, where Augustinsson clears it towards the halfway line. Berg couldn't get a touch, so England are back in possession yet again.
Well, it's strange that today, John. He did say it looks like a spaceship, and we might actually see ET today.
Extra time. At this rate, we would do. Here's Maguire. Young. You're quite pleased with yourself there, aren't you? I can tell. I can feel you giggling to yourself. Maguire now to Young. Young with the outside of his boot, but that's too much on that, and it's straight out of play. And Yeah, this is not it's not Brazil-Belgium,
no,
is it?
Definitely not. We've sorted that out already, and very tactical, very cagey, very nervous. England are a little bit on the front foot, you could say, but this is ideal for Sweden, I think, at the minute.
Yeah, and Gareth Southgate absolutely right last night, saying it's going to be up to us to break them down and use what craft England have. And Raheem Sterling, big day for him, I feel, near the centre circle. Henderson with the ball inside his own half. John Stones goes to the right hand side to Kyle Walker. Here is Sterling now. Sterling is challenged by Seb Larsson. Sterling trying to get round him, might have been held, and referee Kuipers has brought it back for a free kick when England might have been away there. Henderson then takes the free kick, which hits one of the Swedish players, and referee Kuipers says carry on, and then a misplaced pass by Walker behind Young. And that underlines the scrappy start to the game.
It's been a terrible start to the match. I'm saying England, it's just been a bad start. Sweden set up well disciplined, caught them offside once already. Not really going forward. They played 3 long balls so far, but England haven't settled. They can't get a rhythm going.
No. Sweden are saying to England, come on then, take the initiative against us. And at this stage of a World Cup quarter-final, England aren't overcommitting themselves. Harry Maguire heads the ball forward over the halfway line, and then Klaassen back to Kraft, who thought about going back to his goalkeeper, and he delayed, and Dele Alli was in, and Ali slipped the ball through but overhit it, looking for the run of Harry Kane, but goalkeeper Olsen was out very quickly to gather.
Right ball, right decision, just overhits it. That's what we're talking about in general play. We need Dele Alli and Lingard to stop relaxing on the ball and giving service to Kane. At the minute, he's not getting a lot in this tournament.
Free kick for a foul on Toivonen, free kick to Sweden, 10 yards inside the England half. A little bit of nerves there from Emil Kraft, the right back, who, as I say, starting at the tournament for the first time with Lustig suspended. Kraft, the Bologna right back, who's played very little football really this season, could be an area for England to try and capitalise on, the Swedish right back area. But a free kick here for
First test, Larsson, we know, very good delivery, good right foot.
Seb Larsson, who's going to be going back to Sweden next season. He's never actually played in the Swedish league. Here is Larsson, who hits a high, booming free kick towards Toivonen on the back post, but he doesn't get any contact on it, and it bounces away through the full-back position for a throw into England.
I think Kyle Walker just did enough to put Toivonen upwards. It was a good delivery. You can see they've worked on that. Toivonen spinning around the back.
Sweden 0, England 0. BBC Radio 5 Live. Actually, referee Kuipers is saying that did take a touch off Kyle Walker, so it's a throw-in to Sweden. And Victor Klaassen has gone all the way over there to take this, the long throw man. So this, danger for England, yet to keep a clean sheet at this World Cup. Here's the throw from Klaassen. Granqvist tries to head it on. There are 1 or 2 shouts for handball, and it is given against Granqvist, and it's a free kick to England in their own penalty
that's
area.
That's a danger. You don't want to get many of them today, do you? I mean, he nearly got his head on it there, didn't he, Granqvist? And that was a great long throw, a lot of pace on it as well. Difficult to deal with. Yeah,
Granqvist scratching for it. It hit Walker and then rebounded onto the arm of the Swedish captain. BBC Radio 5 Live with England at the World Cup in Samara. You can listen via the BBC Sport app. Get in touch at 5 Live Sport. Tell us where you're listening to us this afternoon, if it's unusual or exotic. Also, BBC World Service across Africa are with us as well, so great to have you. And also TSN in Canada. And as I say, the red button on the television to listen to us and watch the pictures. Not much to wax lyrical about so far in this game. Here's Walker. Walker on the halfway line, chips it infield. Sterling, but loses out in the challenge with Ekdal, and then it bounces out of play for a throw on the far side.
This is a classic game, you know. We were talking before the game about the positional sense of Sterling. He's got to go and play Wade. Come and stand out on this left wing. Just stand really Wade and see what they do, Sweden. Because at the minute there's too many red shirts, too high, there's no space for any of them to get a ball. They're playing into Sweden's hand. Sweden are playing a very narrow back four, which is England's helping them actually by playing so narrow.
Of course, it is a warm afternoon here as well, in the mid-20s I would say, so the players possibly conscious of that as well in terms of the way that the game's begun. Henderson got up there and passed the ball cross-field, but that's another error straight out of play for a throw-in to Sweden. 0-0. Sweden 0, England 0. For many, many years, Sweden had a great record against England. From 1968 onwards, all the way up to 2011, Sweden went unbeaten against England. But England have won 2 of the last 3, including a meeting at Euro 2012 in the group stage, when you might remember Danny Welbeck, who's on the bench today, scored a superb backheel flick goal. Harry Kane now playing the ball over the top for Sterling to chase, and Granqvist comes across, slides in front of Sterling and hooks the ball out with his right foot for a throw into England down the left, but Ashley Young trots forward to take. It was a bit of a doubt, Ashley Young. We saw him with the ice pack on his ankle when he was substituted against Colombia. Might have been taking a penalty otherwise, but has recovered okay. And Danny Rose on the bench, Ashley Young starting again. Unchanged England team, if you haven't heard. Young takes the throw in towards Sterling in the box. Now it's back to Lingard. Sweden with everyone behind the ball. Walker now centrally, out to Trippier on the right-hand side. Trippier is up against Augustinsson, plays it back to Walker. Walker puts his foot on the ball, gives it back to Trippier on the right. He also takes a second touch, back to Walker. Walker's ball into the 6-yard box is right down the throat of Robin Olsen, who makes a comfortable catch.
Well, he's not happy about the cross coming in too easily, but Kyle Walker could have put it in the first time he rolled it back. Trippier to him, he could have put it in then. They've had an extra pass which helped Sweden again to get tighter to them in.
10 minutes played, it's been nervy, it's been stodgy, not a lot of quality, and it's Sweden 0, England 0. And you might have been following the Grand Prix qualifying at Silverstone. If not, I can tell you that Lewis Hamilton is on pole for the British Grand Prix tomorrow. We'll have full commentary here on 5 Live on the British Grand Prix with Lewis Hamilton on pole position. That's one of the many attractions this weekend. But Sweden have won a free kick, and we're just being reminded by all of the locals here in Samara not to forget that Russia are playing later in the World Cup quarter-final against Croatia. Sweden with a free kick in centre field. It's played out to the right-hand side. Kraft's cross takes a flick off the head of Berg, out of play for a throw-in.
No, the linesman give it the other way. No, the referee's got it right. Well done.
He's overruled him. And it's a throw-in to England over on the far side of the field. Yeah, Russia against Croatia tonight, live from Sochi with Conor McNamara and Dion Dublin. Will Russia win through to the semi-finals? Surely not. Throw in up the right for England. It's over the top of Kane. Granqvist thumps it forward left-footed, and then Dele Alli threw himself at the ball. The referee's played an advantage, and here's a shot from Klaassen which flies away over the angle of post and bar. Pickford actually dived for it quite spectacularly to his right, but it was always heading over.
Well, it took 12 minutes for you to get a little bit excited. It's been poor start, hasn't it? Let's be honest, from both teams. Sweden will be the happier because they've stopped England from moving the ball like they said they're going to move it quick and move it, switch the play. They haven't done any of that. Sweden will be the happier at the minute.
Sweden 0, England 0. The tennis Wimbledon continues on 5 Live Sports Extra, BBC Television, BBC Sport website and app. Kyle Edmund against Novak Djokovic later. We'll have that for you on 5 Live. And England pressing Sweden, who've got the ball in the right back area. Kraft volleys it over the halfway line. Harry Maguire heads it back, and then Jesse Lingard wins a header in centre field against his opposing number 7, Seb Larsson. This might provide something for England on the right hand side. Trippier and Walker again involved. Lingard receives it from Trippier. Lingard goes infield towards Raheem Sterling, who's very closely watched in that central area. Then Stones sweeps a pass, right-footed out towards the left-hand side to Ashley Young. Now Raheem Sterling again, deep lying position, 30 yards from the Swedish goal. Maguire with a pass to Young on the left-hand side. On his right foot, Ashley Young's ball in, comfortably headed down and away, and then Berg just bundled over by Maguire outside the box, and it's a Swedish free kick.
Well, he played for it, and Harry Maguire didn't let him down, did he? He went too tight. He didn't need to. Got a little bit of pressure there. Ashley Young didn't get the cross in what he wanted. Maguire far too tight. Can't win it. Gives Sweden a breather.
And exactly what you were saying, Chris, when Jermaine Genius was with us before the match. So congested centrally.
So much. I don't know why Gareth and them don't just say it's Sterling for 10 minutes, go and play left wing. I mean, really, as a winger, go and stand out wide.
Because Sterling's getting no joy in there.
No, I don't. But nobody is.
No, quite. Not seen much of Dele Alli so far in the game. Here he is now, just hitting the ball away downfield for Sterling to chase, and it will bounce out of play. Kraft allows it to run into one of the little officials' dugouts down there. And Kraft will take this throw halfway inside his own half. Sweden 0, England 0. For the record, the world rankings, England are 12th, Sweden down in 24th. This is Sweden's first World Cup quarter-final since 1994, when they made it to the semi-finals famously. Certainly famous in Sweden, as we were discussing with one of our Swedish colleagues yesterday, who said, you might be talking about football's coming home in England. He said, but in Sweden, we're all talking about our memories of USA 94. And he says, just like 94, it's a lovely summer back in Sweden. Everyone's drawing parallels and feeling that this Swedish team that has knocked out and played a part in knocking out of so many of the big sides can claim another former World Cup winner. Here's Klassen just outside the area, tried to play it through. It hit Maguire as he was on the half turn. Could have gone anywhere. There were possibilities there for Sweden, but Maguire was very fortunate and relieved to turn and find the ball next to him, and England were able to play it away. Back to Pickford to Harry Kane, who is challenged very close, tight by Victor Lindelof. Manchester United against Tottenham. Then Kraft, header won powerfully and dominantly by Stones, but it will just run away through for a throw into Sweden halfway inside.
I know I was talking about Forsberg on the left wing, who could be dangerous today, but he's getting frustrated already. He's come right in basically as a number 10 at times. He doesn't want to hang out wide. He's not getting any service.
I don't think I've said his name yet. I'm not sure he's had too much of a touch.
You did when you read the teams out at the beginning.
That's a good point. Since the start of the game, Emil Forsberg of Red Bull Leipzig. He's another one who's had a disappointing season this season with Red Bull Leipzig after a very good season last season. Here's Klassen. Back now to Kraft, who looked and found Harry Kane in front of him. Says that took a touch. The assistant has given it Sweden's way. The assistant immediately gave it Sweden's way. I think the referee gave it to England, so it's a throw-in. I'm not sure that did actually touch Harry Kane, in all honesty. We've got a good view of it. Brilliant position again, love it. Commentary position, which we're right down at the front of the top tier, just slightly to the right of the halfway line. Watching this throw towards Berg, who glanced it on. Harry Maguire sends it back for Dele Alli. Then Henderson wins the header in centre field. Dele Alli now with a touch, but Sweden pick up possession again, and here he is now, Emil Forsberg, out to the left-hand side. I noticed a Japanese flag being waved on the far side. Sweden in possession with Seb Larsson in this deep-lying position, just playing it back behind him to Andreas Granqvist, who has played his football in Russia. Granqvist for the last 5 years for Krasnodar, where Sweden are actually based for this World Cup. Long pass down the right by Kraft. This is for Toivonen to chase, but John Stones is going to see it comfortably behind, shielding the ball for a goal kick to England, and it's still 0-0 on 5 Live.
Well, Sweden trying to put a few passes together and getting Berg and Toivonen in behind, but they're not blessed with pace, are they? They're big, awkward players to play against, and I think Maguire, Stones and Walker have definitely got the legs on them.
Sweden 0, England 0. But again here, England with a goal kick. They are being pressed by Sweden, but they have passed it out. But Walker's long ball downfield is way beyond Sterling and Kane.
See, you can't coach that. They obviously want to play, but Gareth Southgate have said there, why are you trying to play there? Why don't you just get out, try and hit Harry Kane from the kick? Sometimes it's the decisions you've got to make at the back.
Forsberg for Sweden. Ball on the left-hand side. Augustinsson continues his run down the left. Here is Augustinsson, who's still going. It looks to cross left-footed, but little Kieran Trippier stuck out a leg and it's out of play for a throw-in to Sweden, level with the edge of the England penalty area. Best part of 20 minutes played. Sweden 0, England 0. And this throw on the far side, rather than go for the long throw option this time, it's been taken short by Augustinsson, and now here's the cross from the left looking for Berg, but he's beaten in the air by John Stones. Out it comes to Larsson, who under pressure from 2 England men can only spoon it forward, and now England back in possession, and here's a ball for Sterling to take nicely in his stride on the halfway line. Sterling now advancing on the Swedish penalty area. Sterling moves inside, it's left to Kane. Kane shoots just wide from the edge of the D.
Oh, you'd fancy Harry Kane, wouldn't you? Confidence he's got with him at the minute. First time we saw Sterling, bit of pace, and Kane comes on just outside the D, middle of the goal, really. Oh, you really fancy him to hit a target at least.
We've seen Harry Kane in that position so many times for Tottenham and increasingly so for England. Just, as I said, it's a sweeping shot, isn't it? He was a foot wide of the base of the post.
And that's really come through Sweden committing 4 or 5 players forward, and that's what England's got to do. When they do get it off Sweden, when Sweden come out of this, break quickly, move the ball quick as possible.
And for once there, because of that, Sterling had some space. He just had one man to beat there, and Sterling beat him well and set up Harry Kane. But this time, Kane, who, remember, has scored with every shot he's had on target at this World Cup, 6 on target, 6 goals, was off target. Lingard into the centre circle, more space here for England. Stones to Young on the left hand side. Young's up against Kraft. Young now taking him on the outside. Then there's the cross towards the edge of the penalty area. Granqvist heads it on the edge of the 6-yard box, unchallenged, got it away. Now Toivonen on the left hand side, just beginning to warm up the match.
Well, England, yes, last couple of minutes Harry Kane shot, and the first time really I saw Ashley Young in this tournament really go outside the full-back and put a cross on his left foot.
Sweden 0, England 0. Live from Samara. There's a huge circular hole in the middle of the roof above our heads, and the sun's shining in on the far side. Warm afternoon, blue skies, a couple of Simpsons clouds up in the air as Sweden take the throw on the halfway line, and we'll go all the way back to goalkeeper Olsen. Sweden 0, England 0.
What were them clouds?
Simpsons. As in the Simpsons. Now Lindelof carrying the ball out from the back. Kraft on the right. Kraft's ball in, took a deflection off Dele Alli. That took the pace off it, and now the ball has fallen to Jordan Henderson to take it towards the halfway line for England. Henderson to Lingard. Henderson points to Lingard and says, move it on to Trippier on the right, which Lingard eventually does. Trippier took it on, but suddenly he found 3 yellow Swedish shirts in front of him. Lingard, left-footed, switches the play back to the left-hand side. Ashley Young now up against Klaassen, square to Lingard. Now Sterling, first touch was a little heavy, but he was able to get it under control and play it towards Maguire. Lingard, Sterling, 30 yards from goal. Sterling clips a pass, took a deflection, but still runs to Trippier. Sweden are very well drilled here, back in the positions that they've been coached to be in. Walker, back to Trippier again, but this England move is almost stationary. In fact, the ball is now stationary, and so Henderson rolls it back into his own half to John Stones.
I like the patience, don't get us wrong, they don't force it. I'm a great believer in that, but I think in areas, certain areas, there's a good angle to get across in on Kyle Walker twice and he didn't, and I think sometimes you've got to put it in when you get in them areas.
Young now, having received it from Pickford, gives it to Kane. Kane turns Lindelof and gets away as well from Ekdal, plays it to the right hand side to Trippier. Sterling now takes it up near the corner of the penalty area, dummies to cross, beats Forsberg twice, takes him on again, checks back once more, crosses into the penalty area, it hits Forsberg, bounces down, and then will be cleared away by Augustinsson up towards the halfway line. Little bit of joy.
Yeah, a little bit of tempo at times England are putting together, yes, but I just think at times Raheem Sterling decision making again. You know, he could have put the cross in 3 or 4 times, delayed, he get like yellow shirts thrown him. That's why I think people criticise him, John. I think it's decision making. It's not his energy and his work rate, it's the decisions he makes.
Yep. England supporters, we think round about 3,000 of them. They're on their feet down in the end to our right. Rachel Burden's down there as well, just right behind her as she's watching and we're watching England attack from right to left and playing the ball in from Trippier, but headed away on the edge of the penalty area. Fortunate bounce though for Lingard. Lingard now has Trippier. Trippier drives a low ball across, but straight into the midriff of the falling Robin Olsen, who's able to gather the ball into his gloves.
Well, that promising attack, but it just faded out. The ball Lingard rolls him is just a little bit too tight to the defender, and he can't really get the quality. There's a little slight deflection, goes straight through the keeper.
So it is still Sweden 0, England 0, with 23, almost 24 minutes played. Yes, you'll hear Rachel live from Samara at breakfast time tomorrow morning from 6 o'clock. Robbie Savage's World Cup breakfast is on from 8:30. Freddie Flintoff and David Seaman among the guests, and we will know then whether England are World Cup semi-finalists or whether they'll be on the plane home tomorrow. And it looks as though this could be quite a tight affair, although England have shown signs over the course of the past 7 or 8 minutes of moving into the ascendancy. But 0-0 it is, and Sweden in possession with Seb Larsson, who's gone back to Stockholm actually to play for AIK in the twilight of his career. Seb Larsson The ball bounces away, poor touch from Ekdal, and it's a goal kick.
Well, they can't get Forsberg in the game, can they? They're getting the ball, and Larsson's getting out in the centre circle, no pressure, but he's not looking forward at all. They're just playing a patience game. I think they're just thinking, you know what, if we get one chance and take it, that may be enough.
So 0-0 it is. England, who've been in 8 previous World Cup quarter-finals, have progressed from only 2 of them. That's not a great rate. Lingard now square towards Dele Alli. Dele Alli with the yellow flashes on his boots, turns, little ball towards Lingard, forward of the centre circle. Lingard, as he's closed down, gives it to Dele Alli, and then back to Lingard again, and the two of them exchanging passes once more. Dele Alli tried to pass towards Young, it broke down. Klaassen infield, but Sweden in danger of losing possession deep inside their own half. Eventually Kraft forced to hit it long. This is one for Berg to chase, and he is offside, running away from Maguire, who recovered very well actually, but the offside flag came up.
You've just got to be aware that one ball, they're not frightened to put a ball in behind Sweden. You know, full-back areas in particular, that's where they get it. They're not frightened to put it in behind. You've got to switch on, can't switch off ball watching.
25 minutes played, still 0-0. We've seen the Harry Kane shot from the edge of the penalty area, which was narrowly wide of the foot of the post. Klaassen had the effort for Sweden as England lose possession inside Swedish territory. Once again, Ekdal, put under pressure by Raheem Sterling, is forced to overhit the ball through, and Pickford very quickly out of his penalty area shapes a pass with his left foot to Ashley Young. But there's no great momentum in this England attack, because once again the well-drilled Swedes are very quickly back into the positions. Thought Jordan Henderson might have been clipped there as he tried to play it forward. Henderson though back into the challenge again against Klaassen, who comes out with the ball, and it's back to Lindelöf, one of the two central defenders. Got a very good partnership, Granqvist and Lindelöf, who Granqvist put under pressure by Harry Kane and turned and rolled it back to goalkeeper Olsen, who clears into the centre circle to Berg, chesting it off to Forsberg, and then Lingard is muscled out of it by Ekdal in centre field. So Sweden back with the ball. Sweden 0, England 0. Yeah, Victor Lindelöf, who obviously who's not had the season that he wanted at Manchester United in terms of the game time, but a very important part of the success of this Swedish side, this partnership with Granqvist, whose wife gave birth, Andreas Granqvist, on Thursday night. He told us yesterday that he didn't get much sleep, but all was well with wife Sophie and new baby Mia, who he will see for the first time when Sweden's World Cup adventure finishes. And here he is, Granqvist, now carrying the ball forward, and then took a heavy touch under pressure and passed it straight out of play for an England.
Well, he should have played the left back a lot earlier. He had the chance to, and then he couldn't say he actually had a bad touch, and then he tried to reverse the pass, but by then it was finished. But Sweden are offering a little going forward, let's be honest. They're just trying to slow the game down as much as possible, and as I say, I think they're waiting for one chance at set piece possibly.
It's 0-0, Sweden 0, England 0. Harry Maguire just puts his foot on the ball. I was listening to 5 Live Breakfast this morning, and I heard Harry Maguire's old teacher talking about him, and he came across as an absolutely lovely little lad when he was at school. Maguire plays it out to the right hand side to Walker. Now Trippier on the right. Trippier, his ball infield, touch from Kane. Henderson now, aerial ball towards the edge of the box, looking for Dele Alli, but it was misplaced from Henderson. Didn't find the target. Won back though by John Stones, although he does actually lose out in the challenge with Klaassen. Dele Alli though back in position, fighting and winning the ball back for England. He's done an awful lot of that during the course of this World Cup in a deeper position, Dele Alli.
Yeah, he can't play too high because Sterling's ahead of him, and that's where he normally plays, so he's got to play a little bit more deep.
Yes, Ashley Young. Now to Sterling, who turns and he's away from Klaassen. Sterling to the edge of the penalty area, 4 Swedes around him. Gives it out to Ashley Young on the left. Young's ball across, Granqvist was there, and he was able to quickly adjust his feet and swipe it back out for a throw down the left. Better from England, throw in taken, Young to Lingard, who had a look up. Lingard swirls it into the back post. Trippier nods it back across. Ekdal with a header away, but not clearing the penalty area. Sterling in with a challenge, it bounces down and is volleyed to the halfway line.
Well, if England can keep the tempo up and move the ball quicker, they will get chances, and you know they are the better side, but they're playing too slow.
Yeah, that's what they need to do. But there are signs of promise. But it's very difficult against this Swedish side, as France and the Netherlands discovered in the group against Sweden, and Italy in the playoff, and Germany in the group. Here's Dele Alli, who takes the ball down. Dele Alli stabs it to the right hand side. There is space now for Trippier if he can find the deep cross to the back post, but Kraft was there ahead of Kane to head it behind for the first corner of the match to England.
No, we'll see what they're about, because Sweden, I think, are probably well organised to deal with set pieces. Have England worked on something different to try and move bodies around in there? Because I think they'll be able to deal with Maguire and Stones.
Well, Jana Andersson said yesterday that this is the first team that they've played who can match them on set pieces. England against Sweden. Ashley Young placing the ball very carefully in the quadrant. Obviously there is the issue here of wrestling and grappling, and we're seeing this England conga style lineup. The players now break away. Here's the delivery, which is headed down and in by Maguire, and England are in front. Harry Maguire's been such a presence for England from set pieces. This time he scored one himself.
Well, I've got to say, all this tournament, Maguire and Stones have won nearly every header in both boxes, and this time Maguire gets up nice and early. Sweden will be thinking, we've all got a man. I'm trying to see on the replay, nobody goes with him. He just spins round the back slightly, not a lot, and they're all standing in zones. Nobody attacks the ball, but apart from Harry Maguire. And it's a great header, power down into the ground, keeper absolutely no chance.
What a time to score your first goal for England, Harry Maguire. What a time to be alive. It's Sweden 0, England 1 in the World Cup quarter-final.
Well, Harry Maguire, what a great header. And now, what does Sweden do? They've got to come out, will they? But it's not in their make. I think they'll just keep playing the same. And England's show, when they move the ball quicker to win the corner, they'll get chances.
Advantage, England. And they're dancing in the stands here in Samara, those England supporters. It's Coming Home is the song. Harry Maguire, playing for England for the 10th time, scores his first goal, and what a dominant header it was too, from Ashley Young's corner. What was he, Chris? 10 yards out, 12 yards out, something like that. Buried it.
Yeah, he got ahead. He was the only one who really focused on the ball and got his reward.
And that has come at a very important time for England. Half an hour played, but England had moved into the ascendancy. This is what I mean. In that there had been signs of promise. But if England had got to half-time and it was still 0-0, but when they had moved into the ascendancy, they've now got a goal to go with it. And so England are in front. John Stones with the ball inside his own half. Strikes one long, but Jesse Lingard won't reach that. And it runs out of play for a throw into Sweden in the left-back position. So there's a little bit of pressure on the Swedes now.
I don't know if they'll change, John. I think they're set in their ways, and they keep thinking they'll get chances. England will come off the pace, they always do, we know that. But Sweden got no ambition to go forward, so I can't see how they can change the game.
And now we can say that if England here in this stadium can keep their first clean sheet at this World Cup, England will be World Cup semi-finalists. And they'll play in Moscow on Wednesday night against either Croatia or Russia. But it's a fragile lead, 1-0, and Stones and Walker in possession inside their own half. Stones going all the way back to Jordan Pickford, who I must say looks a bundle of energy again. Pickford overhits the pass straight out of play, way over the head of Ashley Young. And very animated Jordan Pickford there. Almost too energetic, you might say.
I don't think England have settled, which they can. They've got better the last 10 minutes. I can see we're sort of creating a few chances, England, but I think there's a lot more to come from it. They can relax a little bit more, and I'm very disappointed in Sweden. I've got to say, I knew they'd be defensive minded, but
one-dimensional would be one phrase to sum them up. Here's Walker with the ball in front of his own penalty area, turns and gives it out to Trippier on the right-hand side. He's just joined us. England are winning 1-0. Harry Maguire's just scored just a couple of minutes ago. Long one forward for Granqvist, who was stretching against Sterling and rather nervously stabbed it out for a throw-in to England on the far side. Whenever Sterling has managed to get himself up against Granqvist, which hasn't been often, Granqvist has not looked comfortable. 33 years old he is now. He's heading back to Sweden as well from Russia this summer to play for Helsingborg, where he's also eventually going to become the director of sport. Very impressive figure, actually, former Wigan man. I'm sure listeners, supporters of Wigan Athletic will remember him from the time that he spent at the club. Pickford, long ball forward, deep into the Swedish half, right under the chest of Trippier, who takes it down. Trippier's cross now, Sterling on the stretch, but Granqvist got it high, and then Augustinsson nodded it further away. Trippier finds a header, back to Henderson. Oh, Henderson goes for a volley that's punted high over the bar.
He was unlucky, he went for a dipping volley, hasn't he? The ball was sat up a little bit too high for him, but we'll get to replay the corner here. The movement, very good by England. Maguire just focuses on the ball and 10 yards out, heads it down the ground. Nobody on the post for Sweden. Goes in the bottom corner.
So Sweden 0, England 1. And that's another England player who's scored his first goal for England at this World Cup. Two of the central defenders. John Stones scored a couple, remember, in the game against Panama. Now Harry Maguire's got his first. Sweden 0, England 1. The other central defender, Kyle Walker's never scored for England, incidentally. Out of play for a throw that will be taken by Kyle Walker over on the far side. The England supporters still dancing in the stands.
Imagine what it's like back home.
Imagine. Yeah, get in touch at 5 Live Sport. Mark Chapman, who's here with us in Samara, will read them out, I'm sure, at half-time. Throwing up towards Harry Kane. The referee says there was a shove by Kane. It's a free kick to Sweden, 6 or 7 yards inside the England half. In the way that Sweden have played, you would say that they seem to be relying very heavily on situations like this, set pieces.
This is it. They obviously thought if we go toe-to-toe, England have got probably too much energy, too much movement, so they're trying to frustrate, and this is the opportunity they've been waiting for, probably higher up the field, to be honest. This is just 10 yards over the halfway line.
And still, the highly rated Emil Forsberg, left-hand side of midfield, has simply not got into the game. And we've got less than 10 minutes to go to half-time. Here's the free kick for Sweden. Deep one. Maguire, the goal scorer, heads it away on the edge of the box, and it will bounce out of play. Now for a throw-in. Runs actually into the England dugout, which is down below us. Covered in blue, the cross of St George on the top of it, as Larsson rescues the ball from it. Throw-in that Kraft will play. Number of the England substitutes warming up down there, just catching my eye. Trent Alexander-Arnold and Phil Jones and Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Sweden with the ball near the centre circle. Here's Larsson. Larsson back to Ekdal, and now Lindelöf to Kraft on the right. Kraft turns and sends a ball forward. Pickford has come right out to the extreme corner of his penalty area and then backs away and catches the bouncing ball. Sweden 0, England 1 on BBC Radio 5 Live. Listen as well via the red button if you're on your way home and you want to continue listening to me and Chris Waddle with the pictures. You can do that. Alternatively, Guy Mowbray and Martin Keown will provide the commentary on BBC One. And later on 5 Live and BBC Television, Kyle Edmund against Novak Djokovic. England 1-0 up, and Lindelöf carrying the ball out from the back into the centre circle. Passes it forward to Klaassen. Klaassen now to Kraft on the right. Kraft's cross is deep. It's over Berg, who stretches forward. I think he got his head to it, and it's out of play nevertheless for a throw into England.
Frustrate Sweden as well, and they work the ball very well, and they've been in areas a couple of times and the delivery's been very poor into the box.
Sweden 0, England 1. Kieran Trippier waiting to take the throw. John Stones strides across just a few yards away. Referee Kuipers says get on with it, so they do. Henderson on the stretch. Ekdal takes possession. Ekdal trying to go around the outside on the left, but Walker is able to come across, hit a right-footed ball downfield. Kane on the chase. Granqvist, the strong-looking figure of Granqvist, passes it back. He's losing his hair, Granqvist, thinning on top, heavy of the shoulder. It's that time of his career, but he's been an absolute titan for this Swedish side, and is actually their leading scorer with the 2 penalties that he's scored so far here. He said yesterday, just like Harry Kane, I'm 100% with my penalties. Throw in for Sweden, just over the halfway line. Kraft now back towards Klaassen, who is being put under pressure by Dele Alli, and so plays it back to Lindelöf, who took a touch, and then left-footed plays it back towards Olsen. Passes it out to Granqvist. Sterling was quickly there. Granqvist pass in field towards Ekdal, who did well, but then overran it, and the ball spins as it bounces. Henderson heads it to the right-hand side to Lingard, who's looking to pull it down, which he does. Gives it to Trippier, and England go back into their own half. To start again, Harry Maguire. Now to Ashley Young, who's ball down into the full-back position. Dele Alli chases it, but it will run away for a goal kick to Sweden. So we've got just over 5 minutes to go to half-time. Chris Waddle, Sweden 0, England 1.
Yeah, I think England's been a better say. I've got to say it's a disappointing first half. Not a lot of action as they cancelled each other out, and set piece again puts England ahead. And look, bother about that, they're winning. I would expect a little bit more from Sweden to make a game of this at the moment, that they haven't.
Here's Trippier on the right-hand side, moves away from Forsberg, passes it up towards Sterling, but Augustinsson got there first, and the ball runs out of play for another throw to England. It's been scrappy, it's been disjointed, lack of ambition from Sweden, who simply not played very well, trying to frustrate England. But crucially, England have scored from yet another set piece. 1-0 they are. Berg now almost took the ball in his stride, but Walker did very well there to come across, swept the ball away from him, and now England are passing it away from the back, from the left back position. Walker still there, and he strikes the ball up towards Kane, but it's over the top of Harry Kane. Henderson then nods it to Lingard. Little touch from Lingard, that was good. Dele Alli's got some space now here, and he begins to glide forward with the ball. Sterling on the left wing here. Sterling into the penalty area, takes on Kraft, crosses, took a deflection, a little flick from Lingard. It hit a defender, bounced down, and Sweden were able to bring it away.
Well, there you go, John. Sterling goes out the left wing, he's got the beat of the full-back straight away, you can see that.
Is he going to stay here though? No. So to play for a throw-in to Sweden. And there we see Janne Andersson, who has, a little bit like Gareth Southgate actually, taken on the mantle of a cult hero back in Sweden, this 55-year-old who took over from Eric Hamren after Euro 2016, and he'd come up with something of a minor miracle by leading Norrköping to the Swedish title, which was most unexpected. And here he is, leading Sweden to a World Cup quarter-final. Granqvist takes possession now. Actually, poor touch. The ball runs out towards the left-hand side. 3.5 minutes to go to half-time. England will very gladly take this 1-0 lead into the break. Larsson to the left-hand side. Forsberg is after it. Forsberg with Augustinsson. Forsberg back onto his right foot, swirls the ball in, but it will bounce through to Jordan Pickford, who can take it easily.
That's a good ball in that. This is the first man, and it's low. If somebody attacks it across Pickford, you've got to tap in, but nobody attacked the ball. Pickford picks it up.
Jordan Pickford, a Sunderland lad, two Sunderland lads in this England team, Jordan Henderson and Jordan Pickford. I was reminded earlier today that it's actually 1 year ago since the sad, tragic death of young Bradley Lowry, and I'm sure that seeing a couple of Sunderland boys in the England team will mean a great deal to his family, so we'll send our best regards to them. Sweden 0, England 1. Kyle Walker just giving it to Kieran Trippier. Trippier now to John Stones, and Stones finds the pass towards Ashley Young on the left-hand side, but this is all very one-paced, this from England, just keeping possession, but with a 1-0 lead, if they can keep the ball in these warm conditions here in Samara, this you would think would tire Sweden. Trippier hits a long one for Sterling. Sterling pulls it down in the box. Lindelöf did well to just take it away from him on the edge of the 6-yard box.
Great ball, great run. First touch was excellent, was he? Just couldn't get his head up and he couldn't get it out of his feet to get the shot off, but great ball by Trippier.
Yeah, what again, yet another great ball by Kieran Trippier, whose stock is rising on the world stage at this World Cup. Maguire finds a pass through the middle to Kane. Now Lingard through to Sterling. Sterling's onside. Sterling under the goalkeeper, and it's cleared away.
He's offside
by Kraft, but in any case the flag eventually came.
Well, it's this way, you don't put the flag up and you wait, don't you? Which is ridiculous. Just stick the flag up. He's well offside, and where did these rules come from? Look, he's yards off. Just stick your flag up. Getting everybody excited.
That's actually comical that he didn't put his flag up there. Sweden 0, England 1. Nevertheless, it would have been comforting for England supporters to have seen Raheem Sterling put that in the back of the net. Although you could also argue maybe keep them for when he is actually onside. 1-0, England leading through Harry Maguire's header. England scoring from yet another set piece at this World Cup. That's 7 of them now, isn't it? Yep. 7 set pieces that England have scored from. Very simple, this one. Ashley Young with a corner, headed in by a towering Harry Maguire from an angle from 12 yards or so. Henderson now, a ball over the top for Sterling, takes it down brilliantly, goes round the goalkeeper who got a touch. Sterling in the box, still with a chance for England. Sterling on his right foot, shoots, deflected, wide.
I don't believe what Raheem Sterling goes through his head at times. I mean, his run is brilliant. The timing this time, he got it right. He just had a similar run. He's offside this time. Henderson plays it. He's onside, a good yard. First touch, brilliant. Now, he never seemed to get control of the ball after that first touch.
Goalkeeper got a good touch though.
But then it's a decision. Do you roll it, Harry Kane? Yes, possibly. Again, that's why people criticise Raheem Sterling. Gets in positions, good positions, but his final delivery, his final selection is not good enough at times.
First touch was magnificent, and I think the goalkeeper getting a touch in there, he did well. Olsen, corner then for England. They're lining up again. Here's the delivery, and it's headed away. Maguire was the target once more, but he just couldn't get past the yellow shirts. Back it comes to Young, and Young lifts one into the penalty area for England, and it's nodded across by John Stones, but straight onto the head of one of the Swedish defenders. 1 minute of added time. Here's Sterling inside the box, pulls it back, takes a deflection behind, another England corner.
Well, Sterling's a problem to them with his pace of movement, but in a way I think that's half time, is it? No corner, but his decision making, I keep saying it, but it just lets him down.
England could easily be a couple of goals up here, as it is just the one. Corner though, this will be the last action of the first half. Again, the England players are lining up one in front of the other. Trippier with the delivery towards the penalty spot, and Maguire stretching for it, was beaten to it by possibly 2 defenders, one either side of him. There's the half-time whistle, and England have a 1-0 lead in the quarter-final here in Samara. Chris Waddle.
Yeah, I think it's not been the best game. I think England's been the best side, no doubt about that. Harry Maguire goal separates the teams, and Sterling in the last 5 minutes caused so many problems, but his decisions let him down. Bad decisions. You'd say England are on top, but Sweden, what will they be saying at half-time? How do they turn this round?
Well, I know there'll be a lot to get through with it being such a busy afternoon. Lewis Hamilton on pole at the Grand Prix, but here in Samara, it's so far so good for England on what may well become a very, very nervy afternoon. England leading through Harry Maguire's header in the half hour. Sweden 0, England 1, and Mark Chapman is here with us just over to our right. Bit of a good point. No substitutions at half-time. Chris, as England get the second half underway, although we've got a false start, and Jesse Lingard now plays the ball back into the England half. England playing from left to right as we look in the second period. The all-red kit. Sweden, first choice colours of the yellow, blue and yellow socks. Chris, if England were able to get a second goal, do you think Sweden will be able to come back from that?
Well, you never say never, but I can't hardly relate to what we saw so far. I think they'll do well to get 1 goal. We've not seen anything really, nothing at all.
They've got to improve dramatically, and I mean, I know this is the way that they play, but they'll have to be more adventurous. Here they are with Augustinsson, who plays the ball back into central defence. Swedish side is Olsen in goal, Kraft, Lindelöf, Granqvist and Augustinsson. Midfield Klossen, Seb Larsson, Ekdal and Forsberg, with Berg and Toivonen up front. Here comes Sweden, cross from the right. Berg gets his head to it, but Walker did well against him, and Berg could only head it out into the full-back position, where Forsberg, with his flopping blonde hair, Forsberg gets it back, shirt outside his shorts. Now to Klossen, who's come to the left-hand side. Klossen leaves it towards Forsberg, whose cross hits the back of Dele Alli and loops out of play about 10 yards away from the corner flag. So England leading through Harry Maguire's headed goal. Yeah, if you weren't listening, I don't know what you were doing, if you've not been across this match, but yep, Harry scored, but not that Harry, the other one. Throw in, Klossen takes this into the full-back position. Ekdal bounces off Henderson, back towards Augustinsson with a deep cross towards the back post. Header from Berg, brilliantly saved from Pickford, leaping to his left. Brilliant save, could easily have been 1-1. There's a warning for England. Sweden still in possession. More from Chris Waddle on that in a moment, but the move is still alive. Ekdal with a run into the penalty area, shielded by Maguire, who is able to shield it over the dead ball line. But Jordan Pickford there, a wonderful save, leaping to his left from Berg's header.
Yeah, Berg pulls up to the far post, doesn't he? He gets up against Ashley Young and he wins the header. He directs it just inside the post. Pickford very alert, good save with his left hand, pushes it away, and Maguire watches it out. It's the best we've seen from Sweden.
Yeah, and Berg, who scored a stack of goals in the United Arab Emirates, admittedly, but for Al Ain, who won the league and the cup in the UAE this season. Here, that is his 14th attempt on goal without scoring. No one who has failed to score at this World Cup has had more efforts without scoring. But that very nearly broke the duck. Still 1-0 England. Trippier hits a long pass for Sterling to chase, but Granqvist is able to head it down. And the England team, it's unchanged, the England team from the Colombia match. So Pickford in goal, Walker, Stones and Maguire, Henderson, Trippier and Young in the wide positions, Lingard and Ali with Sterling and Harry Kane. The winners of this, England are 1-0 up, the winners of this will play either Russia or Croatia, and you'll hear that match on 5 Live tonight, live from Sochi with Conor McNamara and Dion Dublin. And somewhere in the midst of all this, Kyle Edmund and Novak Djokovic will be playing at Wimbledon. We'll have that covered. The coverage continues on 5 Live Sports Extra, BBC Television, and also on the BBC Sport website and app. 6:06 to come. I'll let you know when the lines are open to talk about whatever transpires over the course of the next 3/4 of an hour or longer. And the lines are now open. 08085 909 693. Get in touch at BBC 606. You can text 85058. Lines open now. Chris Sutton's going to be involved, Chris Waddle as well, with Kelly Cates, who's back in the studio at Red Square. 1-0 England lead. Here, the ball through the middle for Sterling, but Sterling dispossessed by a combination of Ekdal and Granqvist. Now here's Klaassen on the right-hand side. Ashley Young gets back into position, but Klaassen has worked it to Berg, and then Berg loses the ball to Henderson. Harry Kane, very deep position, deep inside his own half. Harry Kane plays the ball to Trippier, and now Kyle Walker will have a little wander forward. Still Kane near the halfway line. Kane lifts it out towards the left flank. Ashley Young gets it down and has space in front of him on the left wing. Klaassen eventually comes across. Young back towards Henderson. Henderson goes for one of those high passes, slung to the right. Trippier heads it across, a falling header away by Granqvist. And only back to England though. Lingard passes it straight out for a throw.
That's so comfortable for England at the minute. We had one scare, that was all by Berg ahead at the far post, but apart from that, England again in total control. And Sweden, you'd be looking for some pace to come on.
Berg playing it through to Toivonen. Toivonen though, Trippier came across and just took the ball away as he was looking to pass it forward. And what could have been a promising move for Sweden came to absolutely nothing.
They just lack pace. They're too similar, the two centre forwards, and I think if you could get somewhere with Sweden, it should be looking to put someone with a bit of pace who can help them out, because if they don't hit them, England just pick the ball up straight away.
Ashley Young on the far side. England only ever been in 2 World Cup semi-finals, 1966 and the one that Chris Waddle played in 1990. That's been it. And here are leading 1-0, and already we've played 5 minutes of the second half. Pickford with a long pass downfield. Lindelöf wins it in the air against Harry Kane. Then it's headed forward by Klaassen. Bounces in the centre circle. Sterling was just a little too physical, believe it or not. Sterling on Granqvist concedes a foul, and it's a free kick to Sweden in the centre circle, just with his jump into Granqvist. Free kick is taken to Kraft on the right-hand side, playing instead of the suspended Mikael Lustig of Celtic, who picked up 2 yellow cards. Lindelöf at the back for Sweden, the Manchester United central defender. A number of these Swedish players say they actually support Manchester United. Klaassen now on the right-hand side, tried the pass but it hit the heels of Ashley Young. Kraft was making an overlapping run, comes back centrally for Seb Larsson. High crossfield pass from him, but Forsberg has to back away and take down on his chest, but then controls it brilliantly and swings the ball in from an angle, but Jordan Pickford quickly backpedaling, watched it drift away over the top of the crossbar for a goal kick. 1-0 England lead.
Oh, so more from Sweden in this last 5 minutes, and we haven't got all of the first half, let's be honest. They've actually obviously had words at half time about trying to up the tempo, take a little bit more risk, not a lot, and that was a wasted opportunity. Forsberg got it wide, crosses it behind the goal.
1-0 to England. Pickford in no hurry to take this. In this most attractive city of Samara, where the Russian space industry is based. The Space Museum itself, all sorts of Yuri Gagarin artifacts. The rocket that he became the first man in space was built here. Throw in to Sweden on the far side that Kraft is waiting to take. A little run across field from Ekdal. Ekdal gives it back to Kraft. Sterling in with a challenge. Back-heeled, straight out of play for a throw-in. It's got to be better than that from Sweden. I think if that was England, we'd be exasperated.
I'm just thinking how Sweden can change it though. They've got 2 or 3 subs warming up, but...
Throw-in. Taken by England to Harry Kane. Another chorus of Russia ringing around the stadium. Kane is tripped by Berg. It's a free kick.
It's always around that 53rd minute to sing that as well, Johnny.
Yeah, it is. Well, we'll hear a great deal more of that from the match in Sochi this evening as Russia try to win a place in the semi-finals of the World Cup. Free kick. Young has taken it. Dele Alli has some space, but the referee says that he hadn't indicated that England could take it, so they'll have to go back and take it again. So it's a chance from the set piece. England have already scored from a corner in this match. Young, again, being very careful about where he's placing the ball. Let's keep an eye on the man, Harry Maguire, who always causes problems. Maguire is the furthest away at the back post. Here's the delivery towards Maguire, who heads it right across the face of goal. An overhead kick right across the box. Maguire nods it back across the penalty area, and it's cleared away by Larsson in the penalty area. There's an overhead kick by Sterling on the far post that found its way straight back to Maguire.
Well, they can't handle Harry Maguire, can they? That's again a simple set piece. His ball hung up at the far post. He gets there, nobody's near him. Look, he heads it back across the goal. Sterling with a basic kick doesn't go in. Maguire again back across the goal. That's a simple tap in. Nobody reacts.
No defence that Harry Maguire's played against here.
Nobody can handle him now.
And he scored the goal. Harry Maguire of Leicester City in England. Here's Sterling on the right-hand side. Sterling with a chance to cross. Kane's after it, but it's headed away by Lindelof, who managed to come across Harry Kane and get his head to it before the England captain. And the referee is motioning across.
Because he had a swing at
Toivonen.
Toivonen had a swing at whoever picked the ball. Was it Sterling or...
referee Kuipers, Bjorn Kuipers, says to Toivonen very clearly, that's your last warning. I mean, that's good refereeing.
It is.
He's left no one in any doubt. Throw in for England that is taken by Trippier back towards Walker on the halfway line. So BBC Radio 5 live from Samara. England winning 1-0. Get in touch on social media at 5 Live Sport and let us know where you're watching, particularly if it's unusual. We'd love to be able to read them out during the course of 5 Live Sport and 606. The lines are open. 0808 5909 693. Trippier, and now the ball is played downfield by Augustinsson. Henderson then under pressure can only stab the ball out of play. Are we going to see a change? Number 22.
I think he's been warming up for 10 minutes and they've called him back into the dugout. I don't know if he's been told to sit down and not putting it on yet, but
he is a centre forward, Isaac Kisa.
I think he's coming on. He has England again.
He has Harry Kane on the right hand side. A curling pass. Goalkeeper came for it, then went back, and it was all the way across to the far side into the full-back position. Sterling crosses straight onto the head of Lindelof. Harry Maguire is suddenly involved in the attack, chesting it down and playing it forward. Cleared away to Henderson, now with Sterling on the left-hand side. Lingard is available. Lingard takes it on the outside of his right boot. Harry Maguire still involved in the attack, rolling his foot over the top of the ball. He's been able to find Lingard. Lingard takes it on and shoots, and it's deflected off a defender on the edge of the area, and the ball skews away behind for a corner to England.
Good spell by England, good tempo about them as well. Sweden are struggling to get clear anything away. It's all England that pushed them back.
And that Harry Maguire involved again.
Coming in number 10 as well now, isn't he?
Corner for England. Let's keep an eye on Zinedine Maguire. Where is he? He's between Kane and Stones, and we're seeing this lineup again, as has been pointed out, a little bit like the old Madness album cover, where they're all lining up and leaning back in a row. Here's Trippier to take the corner. Raheem Sterling is making a nuisance of himself in there as well. Trippier with the delivery towards the back post. This time Lindelöf got a head to it. Henderson was complaining about being held in there, but I mean, it's been nothing in terms of the wrestling and that manhandling in this match has been nothing like some of the other games that we've seen.
That could have been it must be Tug.
Very good. Throw in for England on the far side. Sterling takes this to Kane. Kane now wriggles away into the penalty area, and then eventually the challenge by Ekdal. Young is still available on the left hand side. Henderson gives it back to Young. Young slips it past Clausen, and then the cross hits the first defender. It's bounced back to Henderson though. Henderson's ball in, this time headed away by Lindelöf. Again, England are having a good little spell here. They're probing. Second goal may be in the offing. Young plays it to Dele Alli, drags it back, plays it square to Lingard. Lingard shoots, it's deflected by Grankvist out to the right hand side to Trippier. England are all over Sweden here. Trippier then tees up Lingard. Lingard plays it into the back post. Dele Alli heads it in. It's 2-0 to England. They're on the way to the semi-finals, and Dele Alli makes his mark on this World Cup. Sweden 0, England 2. England now in control of the quarter-final.
Yeah, it's been coming, hasn't it? And England have absolutely dominated the last 10 minutes. Sweden just can't get near them. They haven't got a clue how to stop them. They've been putting balls in the box, shots blocked. They've tried everything, and England this time get rewarded with a great ball to the far post. And Dele Alli beats the offside trap. Good header, makes it look easy. As it comes in, Sweden don't clear the lanes. Dele Alli's definitely onside. Sterling's off. Doesn't need it. Great header. Game over, because I cannot see Sweden scoring 2 goals.
And what would you say that England need to do now?
Just keep the tempo up for the next 10-15 minutes. Keep going. If you can get a third, great. Don't start easing off and encouraging Sweden on.
Go for the jugular.
Yep, that's the one.
And later on they'll be able to go for the jiggly. That's the local beer, by the way.
One step beyond now, though.
2-0 to England. Yeah, they've got a big brewery in Samara where they make jiggly beer. Here's Kane on the halfway line, who is blocked, and blatantly blocked he was. It's a free kick. Might have taken a bang in the nether regions, actually, although he's holding his side. And referee Kuipers has given the free kick England's way. So Dele Alli scoring for England for only the 3rd time. It is an area where, I mean, we know his Tottenham goal-scoring record is superb for a midfielder. He's another one that you always feel could score more for England.
Yeah, definitely. And he got in the right place, right time this time as well. So, but again, Sterling was near him and somebody else was near him. It's very congested in that middle bit.
He almost couldn't miss Dele Alli. The curling cross in to him, peeled away at the back post in the 6-yard box, and he just headed it into the roof of the net. Sweden 0, England 2. Sterling back to Lingard. And now square to Harry Kane. England players queuing up on the left-hand side. Young is there. Dele Alli on the overlap. Ali in the box on the left-hand side. Dele Alli chips it to the back post where it's headed away by Augustinsson. England have continued the momentum. Henderson and Trippier, and now Walker with possession back near the halfway line. So 2-0 it is. Harry Maguire in the first half, Dele Alli in the second. John Stones puts his foot on the ball inside the England half. And we see now Jan Andersson, who's taken off his blue jacket, and he's cutting quite a frustrated figure down there because his team are making no impression. They've conceded a second goal, Sweden, and England have taken up from where they left off before it went in. Henderson forward towards Trippier, and Trippier wins the header, but the ball runs through for a goal kick. So we have a scoreline that is being celebrated by the England supporters in the stadium here. 2-0.
Yeah, and I think they'll be delighted. I think second half they've come out with a great tempo about them, and they're moving the ball. They've created numerous chances. Here's Sweden on the counter-attack.
Here they come, Sweden. A rare attack. Oh, Harry Maguire is beaten too easily. Toivonen now slips it across the Berg, and then the shot by Clausen, saved by Pickford. Another shot blocked by the diving defender. Clausen is in there again. Jordan Henderson with a crucial block in there. Saved by Pickford, crucial block by Henderson, and it stays 2-0.
He's been their best player, Clausen, for me. He had a shot first half, went nowhere, we know that. Then he comes in, great little run. Berg, lovely flick off, great save by Pickford again with his right hand. Clausen can't get a rebound in.
It was blocked by Henderson, a great block it was. Toivonen now wins a header, and then it just dribbles away, bounces wide of the goal for a goal kick to England. But that's what Sweden have to do. Sweden now have to commit themselves forward, because we've got less than half an hour to play and it's 2-0 to England.
Yeah, and that'll suit England as long as they don't come off the pace. That's the key. Keep this tempo we've had so far second half. It's been very good.
Goal kick that Pickford is waiting to take. In no hurry. Referee Kuipers is onto this and whistles impatiently. Pickford hits it long. Harry Kane is beaten in the air by Lindelöf, and now Toivonen with a touch to Forsberg. Stones into the challenge, took the ball, and there's a little bit of shoving between Toivonen and Stones. The referee says to the two of them as they run past him, look, cut it out. He's already spoken to Toivonen. Lindelöf with the ball inside the Swedish half, and John Guidetti is going to be coming on, it would appear. Long ball for Sweden, but an easy take for Pickford. Overhit.
It's got to be Berg or Toivonen who's going to come off. Take your pick. None of them have impressed today, have they? So England's dealt with him quite comfortably.
It's going to be a double change, Chris. Martin Olsen is going to come on as well, the Swansea man. Here is Granqvist does well to slip it to Forsberg. Forsberg now wriggles away from Walker, and now Klaassen, edge of the box. Klaassen couldn't find the pass to Berg because it was intercepted and cut out by Maguire, and England are off on a counter-attack here. Ashley Young down the left-hand side. Harry Maguire, Harry Kane and Raheem Sterling take up positions, but Young is still in possession, and Young plays it square to Sterling, and Sterling now drags his foot over the ball and plays it to Trippier on the right-hand side. Trippier, Sweden though, are now back in position, and the momentum of the England move has slowed. 2-0 to England. BBC Radio 5 Live. Talk about it with Chris Waddle and Chris Sutton on 606. Kelly Cates will be hosting after the end of this game, and also as well we'll be down in the tunnel and we'll bring you interviews live from down there with Gareth Southgate and the various England players. You'll hear them as well on the 5 Live World Cup Daily Podcast, which you can download every morning. And we will see now, I think, this change. Is it going to be a double change? I think it is, yes. So Toivonen is the first player to make way, and John Guidetti, who you'll remember was a Manchester City youngster, Celta Vigo more recently, and now at Alaves in Spain. He comes on up front, and is that Forsberg who's coming off? It is.
Yeah.
So Forsberg, who so much was hoped for by the Swedish supporters and the Swedish media who are here, and I think I heard one or two boos, you know, from the Swedish fans at the decision to substitute him, but he's off, and Martin Olsen of Swansea City, obviously relegated this season, comes on. Harry Kane takes the ball down brilliantly, slips it through to Sterling, right side of the penalty area. Sterling, very tightly watched, he's got 3 Swedish players around him, goes for the byline and wins the corner for England.
Yeah, England can go and really punish them here. As another set piece, there's Maguire just jogging up now for this set piece.
Corner for England. Trippier to take this. Referee just keeping a very sharp eye on the England formation, which is now becoming very familiar. John Stones joins the back of the conga, puts his arms around Maguire. Here's Trippier, the outswinger. Oh, I thought Stones was held there. Ball still in the area. Henderson heads it across. Maguire's onto it, but he's blazed it left-footed, high up the back of the lower tier of the stand.
Keep it on his head. He's lashed at that with his left foot, hasn't he? He's full of confidence, to go out, to be fair, but big scramble, comes back across to him, and he really got a bit composure. He's lashed out with his left foot. I think it cleared the England fans.
Sweden 0, England 2. It landed actually right up in amongst them at the back. I think the band might be up there as well. There's a concourse. It's one of those stadiums that has a concourse at the back of the lower tier, and there's constant movement in there as people go for chips and drinks and things. The ball is out of play for a goal kick to England. So 2-0, just over a quarter of the match to play. We've played nearly 67 minutes, and England are in a good place.
Very good place. 2-0 up against a team who've really struggled to score goals and are not really convinced us. They've had a couple of chances, let's be honest, second half. They could have scored a couple, but England on control of this game.
They've been strong, England. particularly at set pieces. And the second goal, though, was scored from open play by Dele Alli, close range header, and it is Sweden 0, England 2. So every minute that ticks by, we're closer to a World Cup semi-final in Moscow for England on Wednesday night against either Russia or Croatia. Obviously Croatia strong favourites, strong favourites, but there is something of a force behind Russia, you feel, at this World Cup. Surely Croatia will win that, but we'll see how it unfolds on Saturday night in Sochi. 2-0 to England. Ball is played back towards goalkeeper Olsen. Olsen long into the England half. Walker thumps it forward, then it's thumped back by Granqvist. Harry Maguire wins a header. Dele Alli helps it on to Raheem Sterling. Sterling goes for the early ball across. Granqvist has cleared it straight to Dele Alli, who shoots, and it hits Granqvist inside the penalty area. Dele Alli's come to life with that goal that he scored. Ali now running his foot over the ball in the Tottenham way of his, full of confidence. Sterling back to Henderson, now to Young on the left flank. Young slips it towards the edge of the box towards Sterling. Sterling turns infield. There are three men around him. He's managed to find space. Gives it to Lingard. Lingard now to Dele Alli. Ali curls it goalwards. Took a deflection. That carried it right across the face of the Swedish goal and beyond the far post for another corner.
England being far better than Sweden. Sweden's gone a bit now. I think mentally they realise that they're not getting any joy. And there's another set piece again which England could score from.
And England sense that. You can see, can't you?
You can tell the time on the ball.
They know. They know that Sweden are struggling here in this heat as well. Trippier with the corner. Here it goes, and a flick off the head of Granqvist, which took it away from anyone in a red England shirt. And Young is going to allow the ball to, in fact, he just keeps it in and plays it back towards Stones. Now back to Walker. Maguire now, he stayed up for a moment, but in any case, Lingard finds him, and then he hits an awful pass, Maguire. That's way beyond anyone in a red shirt and bounces through for a goal.
Don't worry about that.
That wasn't his finest hour. But he's having a fine World Cup. 25-year-old Harry Maguire. I sense there will be interest in him after this World Cup, you know, but he's only been at Leicester City for one season. As the ball's played back by Lindelöf. Olsen passes it out here to Augustinsson. And his pass up towards the halfway line is cut out by Jordan Henderson. And it's a throw-in to Sweden. So John Guidetti has come on. Jana Andersson's made that double substitution. Olsen and Guidetti, but I'm not sure either of them have touched the ball yet. It's with Seb Larsson. Larsson to the right-hand side to Kraft. Kraft with Dele Alli. Just got a foot in on him, but the ball runs for Kraft to take it on. Ali then puts in another little challenge. There is support behind him, which he uses from Larsson. High ball out to the left-hand side. Martin Olsen does get his head to this. Now the cross from Augustinsson. It's a good-looking one, but Harry Maguire was underneath it to head it back out towards the side from which it came. And then Trippier as well got a touch on that. Olsen, though, the ball runs out to the left. Olsen, 2-0 England lead. Now Larsson, but Walker, smartly done by Kyle Walker there, read the danger, stepped across Guidetti and plays the ball away for England. 20 minutes to play. England are 20 minutes away from a World Cup semi-final. Just think about that for a moment. However, here they come. Klaassen plays it through to Guidetti. Guidetti with a cross. It's controlled and hit by Berg. And Pickford has got a touch to that to push it over the top. That's another excellent save from Jordan Pickford.
And how many chances Berg missed now? Is it about 19 or something? He's just can't score a goal, can he? Good counter-attack by Sweden. Guidetti could ball in. He had a good first touch, Berg, as well. It's a good save by Pickford. Straight at him, middle of the goal, tips it over the crossbar. He's 10 yards out?
Yeah, fingertips, touched it. Might have been on the way over, but he got a crucial touch. So it's a corner to Sweden. It's their first corner, incidentally, but they are dangerous from corners. Here it is, a deep delivery. Granqvist is after it. He's all over Harry Maguire. John Stones it is, and it's a free kick. Yeah, it was Maguire, and it is a free kick to England. And that's another chance for Berg that's gone begging.
I don't know how many he's had now.
It's now 15 without scoring at this World Cup, not in this match.
I think it was going in, John. Just in the replay, it would have went under the bar.
So that's 2 important saves from Jordan Pickford then in this second half.
In the second half, yeah.
He, I'm sure, and the England defence will very much want this clean sheet.
Well, it's 3 actually. Berg had a header as well. And Klassen.
So he did. You're right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. 39,991 are inside this futuristic arena, which will be the new home to Krila Sovetov. Here's Lingard now, skips away from a couple of tackles. Lingard approaching the edge of the penalty area, overhits the pass. Sterling can't reach that, runs away from him at pace for a goal kick. But Lingard and Ali and Sterling are finding great joy when they're coming forward, and this tiring Swedish team can't live with them at times.
No, I think it'd be nice that they've got 3 and 4 and really finish this game off. You know, Pickford's had to make 3 good saves, but England have been by far the better side.
There has been something of a gulf between them. It's a notable performance this from England. Awkward opponents, as so many teams have found. Flick by Guidetti, but that'll just carry it away through to Jordan Pickford, who certainly has a claim to be man of the match, the goalkeeper. For long periods has had nothing to do, and then very suddenly he's been forced into action and made a series of very decent saves. Pickford hits it up towards the halfway line, where it comes off the head of Ekdal and bounces out of play for a throw-in for England. What about a change for England? Gareth Southgate has yet to make one.
He's making one now.
And who is it?
Well, I think he'd probably take Dele Alli off, a midfield player on.
Klassen's suggesting he's been caught there. There are 2 Swedish players down, but England play on, and Dele Alli's attempted pass through the inside left position was intercepted, and the Swedish players are saying to England, you know, well, how come you play it on? There are 2 men down, but neither of them are head injuries, and referee Kuipers has been quite happy to allow play to continue. It's going to be Fabian Delph coming on as Lingard gives it to Ali. Now Ashley Young back towards Dele Alli, and England, I think, looking to work Sweden a little more here, tire them a little more. Maguire all the way back towards Pickford. We talked so much about the temperature here, and it's not as stifling, I don't think, as it was in Sochi when we were there, or Nizhny Novgorod, but it is warm, and it's been tough for Sweden without the ball.
Difficult game for them coming into it. There was talk, you know, England were this and England were that, didn't have this, and England being a better side. First half, you got to say, John Parton, they got nothing really to talk about, was it? England just shaded it, but second half England have been far better.
If you've just joined us, Harry Maguire scored with a header in the first half, and Dele Alli nodded in from close range in the second. The goals coming in the 30th and the 59th minutes. 2-0 England, and England are now 15 minutes away from the World Cup semi-finals. Fabian Delph is going to replace Dele Alli, as Chris Waddle suggested. So this is Fabian Delph's first appearance since arriving back with the squad, after being there for the birth of his 3rd child. So we'll have 2 new fathers on the field in Granqvist and Fabian Delph. And Fabian Delph, this is his 14th cap, and a number of the England players are actually coming across to the water bottles, and referee Kuipers is saying to Dele Alli, come on, he's almost ushering him off the field, and he finally breaks into a trot. Goal scorer Dele Alli. Chris, today, how do you feel about his overall performance?
He's done better. He got more confident after the goal, didn't he? He started rolling his foot around with the ball and enjoying the ball a bit more, but I still think there's more from him.
Well, it looks as though there'll be more from England at this World Cup too. Here's Lindelöf at the back. Lindelöf carries it into the centre circle. It's a long pass that Ashley Young nods down to the newly arrived Fabian Delph, and then Henderson lifts a ball forward for Sterling, who sprints away from Lindelöf down the left-hand side. In possession, ball running towards the corner flag. A support from Fabian Delph. Delph takes a couple of touches. Lingard is available centrally, but he goes all the way back behind him to Ashley Young. Now Henderson, back to Delph, time to cross, does so. Kane chests it down, then lays it to Trippier. Trippier's ball across, cleared away, and it evaded Harry Kane. I thought for a moment there it was going to fall right to the feet of the England captain, but instead...
Olsen diving there, terrible. Well done, referee. There's somebody down in the box though.
And
Kraft.
The right back. And Olsen was challenged by Trippier, and it's only a throw in to England. Kraft just intercepted that cross ahead of Sterling and has just taken a bang, but he's alright, he doesn't need any treatment. Sweden need to get on with this. We've now got just over 12 minutes to play. Sweden 0, England 2. It's been a professional performance. Simply, England have been the better team. Walker back to Stones, and Stones and Berg have collided there off the ball, and Berg is having a little go at Stones. Sweden carrying it forward. Here's the ball to Guidetti on the left side, then Olsen with the cross, but that hits Trippier, who threw himself in front of it. Olsen back in possession for Sweden, and Olsen goes for the cross, and it's beyond everyone apart from the man at the back post, Ashley Young, who follows up and then clears it away. There's a collision between him and the Swedish player, who I think was also Kraft, who's ended up the worse off of the two and might need some treatment, so the referee has stopped playing. So Kraft is down, ball out of play, England leading by 2-0. We will have commentary later on the last of the quarter-finals, Russia against Croatia, with Conor McNamara and Dion Dublin. We will bring you the semi-finals on Tuesday and Wednesday night, live from St. Petersburg and Moscow, the Luzhniki, and that's where England will be heading. 7 o'clock Wednesday night, England against either Russia or Croatia, as long as England see this through, with just over 10 minutes to play. A lengthy stoppage after that, coming together between Young and Kraft on the edge of the box.
It's just a matter of seeing the game through, John, now, and 10-12 minutes, whatever is left, and just look after the ball. Yes, if you can go and get another goal, by all means get it, but don't get sloppy, don't drop off.
Kraft is just getting to his feet, so I think he's going to be okay. Lines are open to talk about this England performance. Gareth Southgate naming an unchanged team. Harry Maguire and Dele Alli scoring. 08 085 909 693. Kelly Cates hosting from our Red Square studio in Moscow. Chris Waddle will be taking part from here in Samara. Kraft has been led off the field. Get in touch at BBC 606, or you can also get in touch on at 5 Live Sport to tell us where you've been watching the match, where you've been listening to us as well this afternoon, in all sorts of unusual places on a Saturday afternoon. Text 85058 as well. Lewis Hamilton will be on pole position for the British Grand Prix this weekend. BBC Radio bringing you this match, all of the World Cup games, the British Grand Prix, Wimbledon, the Tour de France, the England-India 2020 tomorrow. The only place you'll be able to get that is here on BBC Radio on 5 Live and Sports Extra. Here 2-0 to England, and Kraft is back on the field and play is back underway. Olsen on the left-hand side, time running very quickly out on Sweden's World Cup here. Ekdal plays it across to Lindelöf in the centre circle. Another chorus of footballs coming home breaks out. Klaassen, a double deflection, bounces for Berg through the middle, but Pickford very quickly out, leaps, catches the ball, and for some reason gets up and walks across to Berg and tries to square up to him. He obviously feels that Berg wasn't entitled to go for that ball. I thought he was.
Well, I don't think he touched him. Dyer's going to come on. I would think that would be for Sterling or Lingard, but I don't know, he's getting a little bit frustrated, Berg. He's had a few niggles around with Stones slightly, didn't he? So, and
he's had a couple of efforts that he might have thought were goal-bound saved by Pickford.
He's had 18, hasn't he?
Not quite that many. 2-0 to England. Grangfist moves away from Lingard and then sends a pass through, which is steered back by Young to Pickford, and he has the ball safely in his 6-yard box. So England supporters can begin very soon, let's not get ahead of ourselves, to make plans for Moscow on Wednesday night. Kane chests the ball down in the centre circle, put under pressure. Harry Kane then is able to lay it off to Lingard, and Lingard approaching the edge of the penalty area, shoots. It's deflected by a defender across the box. Lingard is first to it. Lingard with Trippier available, which he uses. Trippier now to Henderson. Kane and Sterling waiting in the penalty area, but England just go back towards the halfway line, leading by 2-0. Don't need to do anything rash in this situation. Pickford outside of his penalty area, hits a long pass out towards the right hand side. Trippier wins it in the air against Augustinsson. Kane then tries to go through a double challenge. Trippier always caught there by Augustinsson, just pulled the ball away, and I think was caught maybe on the ball of his ankle.
You know, the substitution will not happen now. I think also they're just going to wait to see how Trippier goes. Yeah, he's still on his top of his foot, a bit late. He'll be okay.
7.5 minutes to play, and it is an England free kick. They lead 2-0. Also tonight, as well as Russia-Croatia, the British number 1 Kyle Edmund playing Novak Djokovic at Wimbledon. So we'll bring you that on 5 Live and on 5 Live Sports Extra. You can watch that on BBC Television, follow it on the BBC Sport website and app. I don't know if we're any the wiser as to when that match might start. Kyle Edmund against Novak Djokovic. When we do, we'll let you know. Young and Trippier working something with the free kick. Jordan Henderson comes across and says to Ashley Young to leave it perhaps to him, and Jordan Henderson just giving some instructions to Trippier. Eric Dyer still waiting to come on as a substitute. Henderson joins the wall. Trippier plays the free kick in, but that's way over the top of goalkeeper Olsen, who just allowed it to drift over his head and behind for a goal kick.
Eric Dyer will be coming on now.
He will, and he's going to be coming on for Jordan Henderson in that central position. So here comes Eric Dyer, his 30th cap here in Samara in this World Cup quarter-final. We see Gareth Southgate there as well in the now familiar waistcoat and the blue shirt, and Jordan Henderson being applauded off. And perhaps as well, Chris, this substitution has an element of just keeping Jordan Henderson to make sure he's okay for the semi-final.
Yep, obviously there's 3 of them, and so it's a good decision. Good decision. Jordan Henderson very competitive. Game over in my eyes. So good decision.
And Sweden are also going to make a change, and this is their final change. Pontus Jansson's coming on, and it looks as though he's actually going to play up front, the Leeds United central defender. So they want another big man up front to try and chase this game. Pontus Jansson, who started the first match in central defence when Victor Lindelof was ill, actually didn't play against South Korea, but this is his first appearance since then. The big number 18 that is so highly regarded by the Leeds United supporters. Just over 5 minutes to play. In fact, exactly 5 minutes plus added time. England are 5 minutes away now from the World Cup semi-final in Moscow. Harry Kane heads the ball near the corner of the penalty area, but away from Sterling, and it's cleared away on the edge of the box. But Lingard will get to it first near the centre circle, and Lingard gets a return pass from Trippier down the right-hand side. Lingard running away from Olsen, who trips him, just sort of ran across his heels and clipped him, and down he went, and it's another free kick.
It's a free kick, which is good for England and waste time. It was accidental that, but it was a free kick, so there'll be no rush to take this.
Trippier spins the ball down onto the surface of the pitch. The white line is sprayed out, and the England supporters are in party mood. You can just imagine it back home as well, can't you, Chris?
Yep.
The scene in some of the pubs and bars, the sitting rooms, the bedrooms, the kitchens of England. Trippier on the right with the free kick, played in, but it catches the head of Larsson. The ball hangs on the edge of the box. Maguire wins it. The ball is scraped away by Ekdal up towards big Pontus Jansson, and then Klaassen is fouled by Harry Maguire, and it's a free kick. And Klaassen's not, it's Guidetti actually, is not very happy. He gets up, and actually I thought he might have been, it's a yellow card for Maguire, who is not in danger of missing the semi-final. We should swiftly point out that's his first yellow card of the tournament. But I thought that Guidetti actually reacted.
He reacted, yeah, he started it. Yep. It was a good tackle. We're seeing the benefit of a replay, and there's nothing wrong with the challenge.
Remember, yellow cards will be wiped after the quarter-finals. Sweden 0, England 2. Olsen, the goalkeeper, will take this. If Sweden are going to launch a late rally, then they're going to have to score about now. Long one up towards Janssen, who fouls Eric Dyer on the edge of the box, and it's a free kick for England. And another chance to slow the play down.
Yeah, I've got a saying, it'd be better say John a day. First half wasn't a classic, was it, by all means? And they got the important goal, which is very important in a game like this.
Another set piece.
Yeah, but it settles the nerves, and I think then Sweden must have thought, how are we going to get back into the game? Yes, they've had 3 very good chances second half, but England 2 could have put this game to bed a long time ago.
I think those England supporters inside the ground here are already beginning to think of the Jiggly Brewery in town. They'll be heading there. It'll be doing a roaring trade this evening. You can actually go and fill up your own bottle from a little stall in the side of the brewery, and it costs next to nothing. Here's Delph to the left-hand side to Young. Now to Sterling, who's getting his shirt pulled there, but Sterling still being able to wriggle away from Lindelof. Sterling across towards Delph. Delph gets a fortunate bounce of the ball, and then it bounces off Delph. He's going to leave it for Sterling. They left it for each other, and it was through for a goal kick. So we now are in the 89th minute. It's going to be England's first World Cup semi-final for 28 years. Long ball downfield for Sweden, which is headed away by Kyle Walker on the edge of the box. I'll ask you, Chris, who you would pick out from this England performance, who the most notable performance when we get a chance. But it's forward from Augustinsson, headed away from Maguire. I think Sweden were thinking and hoping for a free kick there for Maguire's challenge on Berg, and Maguire gives him a little pat on the back as the two of them get up together. They've sent Granqvist forward as well, Sweden. Janssen's up there, Pontus Jansson and Granqvist. Oh, and Maguire does shove Granqvist in the back, and he goes down very easily, the captain, and it is a free kick this time. Maguire, who has been yellow carded.
Well, sometimes he gets so tight. You know, if he just focuses on the ball and goes and heads it, he's won every header today, hasn't he? Doesn't need to push people out of the way and go head the ball. Just focus on the ball, go and head it. It's a silly free kick to give away.
In a good position.
Yeah, Larson will fancy this, I'm sure.
Yeah, just to the right of the D. We've seen him score a number of free kicks over the years. The former Arsenal and Birmingham and Hull City man. He is there, although possibly
left back, yeah.
Augustinsson looks like the more likely taker, the way that they are sorting themselves out. Augustinsson did score against Mexico, remember, in the 3-0 win, which was the big high point for Sweden in the group. And he just moves it, Augustinsson, slightly to the left. So free kick for Sweden with the 90 minutes almost up, and England leading by 2 goals to 0. Ashley Young has broken away. Augustinsson takes the free kick, but over the wall, over the bar, and into the fans behind Jordan Pickford's goal. And England's 2-0 lead is secure in 5 minutes of added time.
Yeah, well, that sums up Sweden's performance, really, doesn't it? That's gone, 30 yards over the bar, and yes, not good.
Final England change is Marcus Rashford coming on to replace Raheem Sterling. And while they do that, Chris, come on, pick out a couple of names for us.
Well, I'm going to say Harry Maguire, for all he's picked the yellow up. I think he's been very impressive. Set pieces, but on the ball, he's looked very comfortable. Stones played well. Walker, I don't think we've got really a bad player. Trippier again, always he's 7 out of 10, Mr. Reliable. It's best with sort of Dele Alli. Lingard's been very, very lively. Ashley Young, it's the best game Ashley Young's had at left wing back as well.
And Pickford as well for the saves.
Yeah, 3 great saves.
2-0 to England, who have dominated the game, even though Sweden did have those second half chances, which were kept out by Jordan Pickford. Already 1 minute of added time has been played. It's going to be a semi-final on Wednesday night in Moscow. England defending with John Stones, who gets up high and has been fouled, and there's frustration now for Sweden.
He's offside. He doesn't realise, he thinks it's a foul. He's actually offside.
So it's a free kick for England, halfway inside their own half. Back in Sweden, they were hoping that it was going to be USA 94 all over again, and they would reach the semi-final. but they have been outplayed really by this England team here today. Pickford takes the free kick, high towards the left-hand side. Kane flicks it on with his head. Marcus Rashford, who's onto the field now, can't keep up with this, can't reach it before it bounces over the dead ball line. Even Marcus Rashford, who is on to win his 23rd cap for England. 2-0 they lead. And Olsen, with urgency, strikes this downfield. It's glanced on. Header won by Stones. England would be furious if they conceded a goal now. They were furious when they let one in against Panama. Klaassen on the right. Klaassen with the cross, flicked on by Gudetti. It's going to reach Olsen, or is it? No. Trippier gets there first and just volleys it back into Swedish territory, and there's a poor touch on the chest by Augustinsson, who has just chested it straight out of play, and it's a throw-in to England. And the national anthem rings around the stadium in Samara. They'll all be making their plans to get to Moscow. They might be hiring cars and vans and minibuses. They'll want to stay a little longer in Russia to see England in their first World Cup semi-final since 1990. Larsson hits a ball downfield. This for Janssen to chase, Pontus Janssen. But Pickford is able to come across his penalty area and leather it downfield. Kane loses out in the air to Lindelöf, and then Delph is nearly taken out by the challenge from Seb Larsson. Harry Kane's got the ball on the left wing. I think he's going to run it towards the corner flag. Yes, he is, the England captain, taking it down there on the left. Larsson is back there with him, and then Larsson kicks out at Kane, brings him down, and gets a yellow card for it. And that was utter, total frustration from Seb Larsson.
Yeah, very, very frustrated. It's his last chance. What is he now, 33? Probably playing in another World Cup, and he's probably thought again, like England did, you'll not get a better chance. So it's sheer frustration.
So it's nearly there. It's nearly there. Last time England were in a World Cup semi-final, this man here sitting next to me was involved in it back in Italia 90. Terry Butcher, who was out here with us for such a long time as well. I'm sure Terry and every one of the other England players who are involved will be delighted to see this 2018 England team match what they achieved in reaching the last four of the World Cup. 2-0. These are the last knockings. We're in the 5th minute of added time. Granqvist, who stayed up front, but it's a vain effort now from Sweden. Olsen taking it on the left-hand side. Olsen still in possession. Sweden's World Cup is about to come to an end at the last 8 stage. Olsen plays it in aerially. Maguire wins the header on the edge of the box against Janssen. Comes out to Klaassen, and Klaassen's ball into the edge of the box, flicked on by Janssen. Walker beaten in the air by Granqvist, and then it's won on the edge of the box by Eric Dyer. And we are now seeing the final seconds. Jesse Lingard is just running the ball away downfield, and he's running it now down into the Swedish left-back position. Rashford gets a touch, gives it back to his Manchester United colleague Jesse Lingard, and there it is. The final whistle goes. John Stones drops onto his knees and punches the air. Jesse Lingard and Marcus Rashford hug one another. Ashley Young, the oldest member of the squad, just leans forward and puts his hands on his knees. But England are there in the semi-final of the World Cup. So 1966, 1990, and now 2018 in Russia. England in the semi-final of the World Cup for only the 3rd time. Who would have thought it?
Start of the tournament, nobody, John, to be honest. Give them credit. Whether the draw's been kind or not, they've had to beat what's in front of them, and they have, and they're in the semi-final of the World Cup. You'll probably have to pinch a few of them later when it sinks in, but they've got a very, very good chance of progressing to the final as well.
So enjoy your parties tonight, enjoy your glass of Zhiguli if you can get it, and look forward to Wednesday night in Moscow, the Luzhniki. That's where the final will be held next Sunday. But first of all, a semi-final, 7 o'clock British summertime. That's the time it'll kick off, Wednesday night, and England will be playing either Croatia or Russia. But really, Chris, it was remarkably straightforward.
Nothing about it, is it? What's a quarter-final? It's easy. You'll not get an easier quarter-final in that, will you? The way they played. Second half, I thought they were very good. First half, I looked edgy, nervous. bit weary of Sweden on the counter-attack, but Sweden, let's be honest, didn't come to the party. They did not offer anything apart from second half. They had 3 good chances, great plays by Pickford. Take that out of it, they've been poor, and England thoroughly deserved their win, and well done.
6:06 on the way. We'd love to know where you listened to us, where you watched it this afternoon, what your feelings were at 5 Live Sport. But the final score here in Samara as the England players go to their supporters in the end to our right. Sweden 0, England 2.